respuesta que usted nos va a dar, Padre, a través del reverendo King. Padre, vamos a iniciar esta, esta conferencia. Usted pueda recibir este reporte en mi nombre. Dice Flores Honor, miembro de una familia central bendecida. Aju.
Muito obrigado pela oração. Então, a partir de agora, daremos início à terceira aula da Escola do Messias Tribal Celestial da América do Sul. Vamos todos receber o reverendo Kim com uma grande salva de palmas.
Good evening, everybody. Heavenly Tribal Messiahs in South America. Happy New Year. I just came back from the Jardin Workshop Center and the Campo Grande. And then I got these questions, and then I found out this is really a lot of questions. Okay, today let me try answers one by one, and then if we have extra time, and I would like to put some more action steps for our reality. For the success of Heavenly Tribal Messiah's activity. Okay, do we have now Portuguese and then Spanish translation? Two. Okay, and then let me go first. I have 4 questions regarding blessing families and the Heavenly Tribal Messiah mission. Okay, first, it is generally known that one of the key elements for the success of HTM is a family and the personal example of the couple that is leading the HTM. However, many blessed families are going through various problems and situations at the family level. And this can negatively impact the success of HTM activities. Based on this, what kind of activities can be proposed to solve the problems within the family? And how can spiritual children be educated and created for more effectively? Yeah, this question is, guide to dealing with 2 situations. Actually, one is internal, in the family matters. Why there are negativities? There exist negativities in the family before we are focusing on Heavenly Tribal Messiah activities. That's the matter of our internal life of faith, I think. So that means that's actually the life of faith side of our kind of internal faith. This is for really your individual kind of disciplining for your life of faith as a man or woman, which means as individual. But this HTM is the blessed families. It's a couple's responsibility. to become perfected individual. So our blessed families had a kind of the two different kind of concept in that we are existing in these two point of our internal situation. One is salvation, and the other one is perfection, which means completion. So once you are blessed, and then as a blessed family, your way to discipline yourself is not just dealing with your couple, your husband or wife. You must focusing on going to the way of perfection or completion of yourself by working together as a half and half of the God's dual characteristics. So in that sense, before you going out, or even though while you are working as HTM, on the other side, you must deal with your family issues. That's not just a matter of your personality or a matter of your external physical life. That originated from your spirituality and then the depths of your life of faith, I'm sure. So how can you overcome this kind of negativities in the family? Only way is to look back yourself and then check whether you are really keeping the heavenly way of life and the heavenly way of activities. Father, emphasizing, okay, originally husband and wife stand on the same level, but on the opposite side. This is not same with the Cain and Abel relationship. Cain and Abel relationship is a vertical relationship, right? In order to go to the God. But once you got the blessing, couple stand on equal position. And then husband and wife can go to the God on same time, right? Husband is not on the top, or wife is not on the top. So in that sense, in between husband and wife, one of couples wants to build up the absolute foundation, absolute kind of life of faith toward heavenly parents. If you are able to build up the 90-degree of relationship with God, and then absolutely no shadow, that means you're going to be perfect. And then one side, either husband or wife become perfected, and then God, you can become the God absolute object partner. And once God has absolute objective, and then God will work to your partners, either husband or wife. So that's why if you are really feel and really difficult, to keep, going on your mission and responsibility as a HTM with your spouse's, challenge or whatever. I think it's better for you to really clearly stand before God and become perfect partner of God first. And then I'm sure God will work in your family. So that's why either husband or wife need to go more vertically while you are working as the HTM. and also how can spiritual children be educated? So in the number six lectures, which were the Tribal Messiah and then Chambo family, I introduced kind of a two-wing theory, right? Two-wing theory, which means, okay, we will have a one step, number one. We will have a number one. Yeah, as you see this, all HTM as a first step, everybody will try to bless the 430 couples or families, right? In this case, a single case will not be included here, actually. Single is a single, which means that we need to witness a single in order for us to guide and bring them to the single, matched, blessed couple. But married couple case, we need to keep the pre-blessed, pre-blessed them. So when we work with this 430 horizontal tribe, of course, we can include the single as one of 430, but mainly we can easily reach out 430 families, couples, right? So, for example, if we have 50 single people, and the others are all pre-married people, still we can go to the first step. In other words, when we make a 430, number one, they will be the blessed, and they will be the pre-married couple, and the number two, single, and the number three, we can include widows too, because widows case, as long as they're going to be educated and they got to know divine principle and they got the value of blessing, we can guide them. If they agree and then accept, we can guide them to get the spiritual world blessing. So in that sense, actually there is no limitations to be my tribe as a blessed, as a pre-married couples or singles. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But when we go to the next step, which means here the activities for the home group, home group activities, of course still we can keep. But the purpose of the home group is to start Hundok home church in my family or in my tribal home, right? In my home or my tribal home. So that's why, in that sense, it's much easier to organize the Hundok home group meeting in the married couples. Yeah, even though we have a married couple, the Hundoke or Hundoke gathering or Sunday service in my home or my tribal home, wherever, still single members can participate. But in order to have, substantial gathering, we need to use the pre-married couple. So in that sense, how can we, educate this bottom line 430 to the next step? So we have two ways. One is, as you see here, the left-hand side, this is the family church. So each region and each state and some of cities, we have church and the church building. That's a family church. That's a family church. Through the our HTM activities, we will once again empower our home group activities. But the clear purpose this time for the home group activity is to have a gathering, hundoke gathering, or kind of service gathering, right? So this gathering can start from 3 families or and then next 12, 36, and this will be increased. In this case, you as a HTM, you can organize this kind of meetings in your family, in your home, or someone's home in your tribe. If one of your tribe has a bigger and a nice home or facilities, you can discuss with that person, and then you can have a meeting by calling your people from your 430. So of course, this case, single members or widows can come, no problem. So in order to keep this kind of small group activity, home group activities, number one, you need to build up the 2 points. One is you have to build up the good relationship. That's the oikos. And the number 2, in order for you to call them and then have a hundoke and then guide them to connect with the spiritual aspect or the aspect of life of faith, step by step. The first thing they have to do is to get the divine principle and understand principle. So that's why at the home church, number one, you need to build up the relationship, good relationship. This relationship, of course, will start from just one person, but your goal through this oikos is to extend the number of people in your group. In other words, you may have one group of gathering for the oikos, but you can build up another type of oikos, which means you can have a multiple number of subjects, like service project, right? You can build up the certain kind of service project for your tribe. Some of tribe need some of them among the 430 may need a certain help, right? Or some may wanna have a service project. Some of them may interest to participate to support and to help some other people. In that case, you can organize. Either you can help them, or you can guide some of them to start to have a service project. So through the oikos. So that's why you don't need to keep just one kind of oikos, several kind of oikos. So this kind of project for the for example, widows, and you can develop a certain kind of a helping program for the junior high school, or older people, like that. And then you can organize some people from your tribe, and they work together. So you can do that at least 7 activities from Monday to Sunday, one project every day, right? So that's why one side, you by yourself as the Messiah, you can create various kind of oikos. I mean, relationships, certain kind of group. And then those who join and build up the good artistic relationship with you. This is a really is a good common base for you and that person start to have a give and take action centering on the truth, which means the divine principle. And then what you're going to do? And then you will use the divine principle book of a divine principle book. And then you have a one-on-one divine principle lecture, right? And then they will know the value of true love and then idea of family. And then they will completely understand what are you doing, right? Of course, not 100%, but those are able type of people will really understand and accept you and then will be ready, ready to ready to participate in, your more internal gathering, which means Hundok camp gathering or even Sunday service you can organize. But as you know, as all of us knows, one-on-one divine principle is not not the end. And that's not 100% enough for them to keep and develop their life of faith. So in that case, as a tribal Messiah and the Chambo family, for the education for your tribe, you need to clarify to keep doing these two, oikos and the one-on-one divine principle lecture. And then once they need more kind of education and a deeper understanding of truth, and then really they need to train themselves for the life of faith. In that case, in the family church in your area, family church, really will take the role of education for the life of faith. So that's why you need you need to take a summons from your among your various kind of oikos groups. So 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever number you have, you can send to the church. And then family church need to organize a divine principle workshop every week. So that means Heavenly Tribal Messiah, Hundok Home Church will really focusing on building relationship and then change the spirituality and keep the relationship as a small group. But mainly, step by step and then deeper education for life of faith will be done in the family church, which is big group, big thing, big wing. So that's why if we're able to create this kind of harmonious kind of roles between Hundok Home Church with the Heavenly Tribal Messiahs and family church with the church leaders. And then we can easily expand and spread out the success of this Hundok Home Church movement by working HTM. Okay, next, from the position of tribal leader, when we handle a situation where a family already blessed with the holy wine, 40 days of separation and 3 days of ceremony, force, illicit sexual relationship, what should we do with that family? This means we just had the holy wine ceremony, right? 430. Among 430, we educate and build up the oikos. And then they understood the real meaning of a blessing. And based on that understanding, they got the blessing, a pre-married blessing. And then once they had blessing, we will guide them to have a separation 40 days. And then after that, we explain that why they need to have a 3 days ceremony. Holy wine ceremony is a separation from the separation from Satan spiritually. That means as long as people they drink the holy wine on this earth, that's not clear that they're gonna be saved. Which means even though they had a holy wine ceremony, still Satan is dominating their physical life, but Satan cannot touch their spirit after they finish their physical life. That means once those who drink the holy wine ceremony, in other words, those who participate holy wine ceremony, goes to the spiritual world, and they will not go to the hell in the spiritual world. That's the meaning of a holy wine ceremony. Let's make 430 spiritually saved, separated from Satan first. And then we make them one by one, small group by small number by small number, to go to the next step, which means to achieve physical salvation. And what is a physical salvation? Of course, a physical salvation started from holy wine ceremony, but this couple need to follow. That's not the individual, but couple need to follow the certain steps, which really make separation Satan from their physical life. That's the traditional blessing in our life of faith. So that's why when we guide people to get the blessing, means was we guide them to go to the way of separation of Satan in their physical life. We need to clearly educate those people why they have to have a 40 days of separation, and then why they have to 3 days of ceremony, and then why they have to keep the absolute way of unusual type of love between couples for 3 days. That's really important to cut off the Satan from their physical life. So when we guide them, people to get the blessing ceremony among 430, that's why we need a clear education. So this question is, even though we go that kind of steps, that tracks, and those who get the blessing with this full understanding of principle and their life, and then they got a sin, and they got a sexual, illicit sexual relation. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? In that sense, principally, that's the same with the blessed couples situation. So among our current, blessed families, many of us are the single married, single blessed couples, right? Some of us were already, pre-married couple when we got the blessing. So that's why we called that pre-married blessing. So either single or pre-married blessing, as long as they got a blessing and then had a past 40 days of separation and 3 days ceremony, they must stand before God absolutely no relating with Satan. So once they mistake, well, it's same result with our blessed family. What's going on? What fallen blessed family members should do? We have to guide them to follow that one. So that's why, guidance and the management of those couples are really important for HTM activity. So when you guide your tribe, 430 to next step, which means bless the family and then bless the couple. You need to really careful, not for them not going back for the Poland status again. It's a really important point. And once they got a sexual sin, original sin, they have to really build up the hard condition. Actually, it's almost impossible for them because they didn't work the way of training or disciplining or principle way to separate Satan throughout their life of faith. We are giving blessing for them, centering on true parents, great victorious foundation. So that's why education is a really crucial point for them to keep their situation as blessed families. Okay, number 3, when a person takes the holy wine of HTM and does not make the 40-day separation and the 3-day ceremony, if he or she relates sexually, continuing his or her life as a couple, isn't it creating a condition of Satan's accusation for you? For you means whom? For you? For me? For tribal Messiah? For heavenly tribal Messiah? Or for those people who didn't have this 40 days separation and 3 days ceremony? Well, okay, anyway, so even though they had a holy wine ceremony, but still they didn't arrive at the status of a physical blessing with the 40 days and the 3-day ceremony, which means they are on the status of spiritual salvation. So they may keep the illicit sexual relationship based on their habits, right? Habits. Well, in that sense, we need to educate them to stop the kind of sinful behavior first, and then we have to guide them to go to the next step as a marriage blessing. In that sense, yeah. Well, there may be that's anyway. In that case, we cannot say that's the original sin for their physical life, but that's anyway. That's the sin, right? That's the sin. In that case, no matter how much they have to put the indemnity condition, may different from each one's situation, case by case. But it's very clear. That's a simple behavior. That's no matter what, they need to put the indemnity. Otherwise, it will not be easy for them to go to the next step, which is to get physical salvation. Because with that kind of simple behavior, Satan already got the accusation condition, and then Satan may not release them to go to the next step to get the blessing ceremony. That's my understanding. Number 4, one person understood that Reverend Kim said in the seminar that before the blessing, one must follow the direction of church leader. And after blessing, one must follow the principle. This person understood that after blessing, he no longer need the relation of Abel and Cain. Could the Reverend Kim clarify this point? Or maybe this question is not for the HTM activity. This question is looks like our blessed family members, blessed members' life of faith in the church, right? Especially the relationship with leaders, which means that after God's blessing, as a blessed family, you don't need to have a Canaan relationship with leaders. I can say, I'm sorry. Still, you have to keep the Canaan Abel relationship because you are not completed yet. You are not on the status of perfection. Still, you are in the growing period, which is the realm of indirect dominion world, and it depends on whether you gonna be you're gonna keep the successful foundation to follow principle or not. But under that situation, during the growing period, which has been completely dominated by Satan, with your own personal understanding or your own personal enlightenment, you can never be able to overcome and then go over the Satan and the Satan dominion. Still, the only one way for blessed families or for you who are under the line of growth, the period, growing period, must get the principal way or guidance through the able. So that's why that means until you're going to be the perfect, you achieve individual perfection. Until that moment, your relationship with church leaders is very much Cain and Abel relationships there. Okay, now it's another group of questions, which is education. Okay, let me go. This is 3. 1, for over a year, Professor Young-An Gil has been conducting education for the Latin America HTMs, focusing on the contents of the collection of the Heavenly 12 Messiah manuals, 4 volumes. Some families have adapted the system, while others have not been able to start yet, resulting in different levels of development of home groups. How can we harmonize the educational content that Professor Gill has been passing on with the most recent directives on tribal messianism, passing on by Reverend Kim? Yeah, my understanding with Reverend the Professor Young-An Gill's guidance, focusing on educational component, which means he is trying to educate the HTM to understand general kind of theory of development and or success of small group activities and the witnessing activities. That's a general theory, from collecting of case studies and collecting of some kind of successful situation even in our church, right? On the other side, my education and my emphasis for the HTM activity is more likely field-oriented kind of education or action step. I'm going to more focusing on the South American churchy and home group activities, specific home group activities, which has been run by South America HTMs. So that's why I have studied HTM schools to really, accelerate it. South American, the Hundok Home Church kind of providential kind of success. So, I'm really, I want to really more focusing on practical point. That's why I wanted to have a Q&A kind of session first before I'm going to go to the step-by-step field, guidance and field directions to get to know more about your insight, how much you understood, and then what is your really major concerns, and what are problems and difficulties. So from now on, more and more, my session will more focusing on problem, solution kind of solutions, and then solving problems. Yeah. So in that sense, I think still HTM need to stand before the Professor Gill, and then you need to keep the two ways of kind of incoming resources right now, right? On the other side, I'm just bring you to the more kind of a clear and more step-by-step activities by solving confronted kind of problems and then difficulties based on the Professor Gill's kind of a successful theory, kind of theological kind of basis. I'm sure we will go quickly to create successful cases, and then almost all of our blessed families will be successful with the HTM. Two, in our HTM mission, the responsibility to educate, bless, and care for the 430 or even 43 spiritual families, children, I see it as an excessively big responsibility. And I am afraid I cannot care for the spiritual life of these people. So, would there be simple ways or even tips to help feed, care for the spiritual life of the people of my tribe? Yeah, this is a realistic, our reality. And this is one of, biggest kind of point that we need to clarify and make a certain way, right? So this is, some of you already cleared with my explanation today. We will manage and run two wings, right? Big group and small group. Big group is the family church, and a small group is the HTM Hundok Home Church. So Hundok Home Church, HTM, will really focusing and specialize and also develop a certain kind of professional ability to develop the oikos relationship and to keep one-on-one divine principle education. And then once they reach this kind of basic kind of status, you can send them to the big church. So I will manage it, not only guide HTM to build up the successful Hundok Home Church, but also I will check the family church's situation or especially ability, which can hold, people from HTM in that area and really guide, new members and then discipline them, training them to start and to keep their life of faith. Yeah, that's the way we want to go. Okay, 3. Can a family that received the HTM wine be allowed to give wine to other families, or do they need to pass the official blessing first? Some families that I gave wine asked me if they could also give wine to other families and say the blessing prayer. Well, as I already explained, holy wine ceremony is ceremony for the salvation. That means when we give holy wine, this is not just what our activities. This is not just a simple, giving word of blessing or just a cup of wines, like in the Christianity, Christian churches. Holy wine is the what? What is the power of holy wine? It's a salvation, which means holy wine ceremony to the personal is exactly the same with the salvation, which is happening in the Christianity by believing Jesus as the Messiah, and based on that absolute faith with the Holy Spirit, Holy Spirit's spiritual dispensation. Finally, Christians can be saved spiritually with Jesus Christ, faith to Jesus Christ, and the spiritual Holy Spirit kind of dispensation working. And then this, one single Christian can be saved. But with our holy wine, we can save one person spiritually. We can achieve personal, individual salvation. Why? And how can we do that? With what kind of, classification? With what kind of power? Do you think that we can qualify to save people's, humans' spirituality, spirit? No. Only the Messiah, true parents, can save the people. That's why, based on true parents, victorious foundation, true parents allow that only blessed family can give holy wine. In the beginning, holy wine ceremony was holding by only true parents. And next time, true parents, allowed for our top church leaders only could have holy wine ceremony and blessing, right? So that's why we, with what kind of, what kind of the power or we can give the blessing, because we are blessed family. Because we are blessed family, we can receive true parents' big kind of big victory as true parents. So that's why when we give holy wine, we are standing on the true parents' position as blessed couples. That's why we cannot allow single person give holy wine ceremony. These single persons are not qualified. Only blessed families, blessed couple are qualified to have this holy wine ceremony as the individual spiritual salvation. Okay, next group of questions. Process for horizontal victory. Oh, looks like maybe how to achieve the 430 blessing, right? And how to form the tribe. Number one, currently the world is a very complicated situation due to the pandemic. And it seems that for at least 2 years, the situation will not return to what it was before, especially with the possibility of large scale meetings. Based on that, and given the stated goal that all blessed families should become Chunbo families by 2022, what strategies can I use to complete 430 families horizontally while still in the pandemic? Yeah, that's our reality. Well, if we think, this kind of a big gathering or family kind of festival, right? And then we introduce our true family values movement. And then in order to celebrate the healthy family, let's have, holy blessing, blessing holy wine. We can do that, but pandemic, we cannot do certain number of people's gathering, but still individual gathering or family level of gathering is possible. Well, there is certain barriers. What are barriers? That's a concept. Number one, our members' concept, my concept. And then number two, people's concept. But if we are able to build up the good relationship and then give, good image for the individual level, still we have a chance to meet and to keep the holy wine ceremony, one by one, not with 10 people, 20 people. Of course, if we are able to have this holy wine ceremony with 50 people, 100 people, it's very easy to accomplish the 430. But with this, current, pandemic situation, we don't have to just give up and stop it. But even one person, we can still, keep, doing that. Number two, because of a pandemic, will there be any change in the creation of a 430 blessing of HMC, HTM, since we cannot go out on the street for blessing activities? Well, I think if this corona pandemic is eternal and the human being cannot do anything, yeah, maybe spiritual world condition or standard may change it. But this is a temporary situation. So I don't think the principle or the responsibility through this 430 will change. I don't think so. So this is a tragic situation. But still, we need to work to find out a way to overcome this kind of fallen human say kind of tragic situation and pandemic situation. Three, when we witness to our relatives, sometimes some member becomes negative and try to harm the witness to the members of my tribe who are positive. How can I deal with this situation? Yeah, it's very important for you to deal with and then guide them to be blessed and then witness your relatives. Your father clarified, number one, as tribal Messiah, you have to reach your relative first, and then your community. That's a Tongbangapa. So in that sense, it's very important for us to contact and really work to save them as a first step. But as we know, everywhere Satan exists, and Satan's goal is very clear. Satan, really strong is want to stop us to keep this one. So this is why everywhere there's a Satan's kind of work happen. So in that sense, how are we going to deal with this one? Well, either we go to the humanistic point of view or principle point of view, or a spiritual point of view. We have to deal with this Cain type of relatives, so that this person stopped putting bad influence no matter what. Otherwise, it is not so easy to expand this kind of blessing kind of foundation to the relatives. I don't know how many members you have in your relatives. That's one way. The other way is you can also work for your community, expand your tribe, even from on the your local area. Still, Brazil has a lot of space for people wherever you go, right? So big number of population, and then even though you are living in Sao Paulo, still you can contact them. That you have a chance to make thousands of family members, families as your tribe. So my conclusion with this, Cain type of person in your relative, you must deal with your Changsang condition and the strongest devotional condition. You have to deal with that. This satanic kind of positioned person, and then you have to win. So, since the year 2000, when someone came to church, we tried to give the holy wine to all the people, married and single, who are able to connect with the movement. In this context, can we give holy wine to the singles? Do you think it would be good if we could give that pre-blessing again to all the people? Singles, married, and widowers at the pre-blessing level. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can do that. But point is that this pre-blessing is just the first step to make my spiritual tribe. And then the next step must be focusing on building the relationship and put the basic divine principle educational component so that they can become blessed family, which means pre-married couples, we can easily bring them to the pre-blessed couple. But single case, we have to educate them, and we have to decide, or we have to make these single people's partners. Without the partner, it's not so easy, right? So in that case, for the single members, we have to be responsible for raising them until they got the blessing. But these people, single people, it's very clear they are my tribe. Widows is the same. So widowers case, we need to educate them and guide them to choose. They have another blessing on this earth, or they're gonna have spiritual blessing in the spiritual. Yeah. But we don't have to focusing on only pre-married couples as our tribes. 5, can you explain clearly how we are to give the holy wine and the blessing to families? In the 7-day workshop, you talked about the giving holy wine to the entire family, including children, and also that we could give the blessing to widowers. We have not been doing this in the past. Can you clarify this for us? And also explain again how we are to give the blessing to the couples and the widows and the widowers. I think that I clarified already this, right? So for the we can give holy wine to everybody, but the purpose of giving holy wine is to bring them to the next step, which is the real kind of blessing for their physical, salvation. So this physical salvation will occur with 3 different ways, right? According to their status. Pre-married blessing, they can go to the married blessing couple, husband and wife together. Single case, they have to go to the single match it and the single blessing. And the widows, they need to go to the spiritual blessing. So if we are able to bring them and guide them to, finish it, to accomplish their, final next step of a blessing, their whole, total salvation with the physical, we can run that one. So that's not the, I think that's not the different, but our activity gonna go to the spread out, accelerate more. So I think that we cannot choose by ourselves as heavenly triune Messiah, whom I will save, whom I cannot save. We cannot do that. So that's why basically we can deal with everybody to the first step. And number 6, my question is how to continue the purpose of witnessing with a person who has attended the lectures on the divine principle and shows no interest in continuing the studies. How can I continue to work with this person without being inconvenient or causing trouble? So now we are talking, the salvation with the 2 aspects. In other words, with the 2 steps. Well, our desire is to bring everybody whom I know to reach it to the final step, both blessing. But actually, we know people are not same with us. And then they are not following 100% to my desire, right? Some of them will accept, some of them will not. So what are we going to be our choice? Well, our alternative is not only we bring the divine principle, spiritual kind of, nutrition or truth only. Why don't we build up the, oikos relationship so that this kind of, people who are not interested in faith or theory, these people usually are there very much open to the kind of emotional or relationship-oriented, gathering. So we don't have to put the only, divine principle, only kind of, internal education. How about the good atmosphere and the artistic gathering, right? To share their emotion. Even though these people are not following and are not trying to go to the next step, why don't we make another net for the people's heart and the people's emotion, and then So we have 2 tracks for them, for people, with the 2 categories. Yeah, that can be the our alternatives. So that's why HTM really need to develop our capabilities and also ability, because we are not dealing with just one person, one. In order for us to become real heavenly tribal Messiah who can create the heavenly parents community. That's the final goal of Chambo family. What is the goal of the Chambo family in the future? We have to create heavenly parent community throughout, centering on our tribe. That's what your mother initiated, heavenly parents community. 하늘 부모님 성회. That's the community, right? In my community, heavenly centered community. The final Chambo family's goal is to work in the community, and all community members accept God as heavenly parents. That's a heavenly parents community. That's the final. That's the kingdom of heaven on earth in the community and in the village. That's the final cause. So this, kingdom of heaven doesn't need to go through only one way. If we are built up the, five ways, why not? It's much easier for the people in the community, can meet and can go to the God. Seven, I am a local leader who has given the wine to over 430 couples in my region. How can we continue the witness to get the 43 spiritual children from this point on? Yeah, I already explained. We need to use 2 wings. And as long as we clarified family church leaders' role and the responsibilities, and the small wings, small groups, Hundok Home Church leaders, HTM's responsibilities. And then, we are able to, have, balanced wings so that we can hold as many as people, as many people as possible throughout our HTM activities. So once you really, look into my seminar, number 6, more carefully and deeply, and you will find out that, what you can do and how can you build up. Okay, and wow, still so many. Already we passed one hour. Okay, let's go, today as many as possible, and then we can keep the rest of the questions next week. Okay, what's that? Okay, next, development of tribe. Yeah, this is HTM activities. Number one, bearing in mind that a family can achieve success in the HTM more quickly if it achieves a recognition from the society and the community in which it lives. How can we introduce the heavenly tribal messiahship to the society and make it popular, understanding that the terms messianism is not a common term and can be misunderstood by outsiders. Yeah, I fully agree with these questions. Terminology, messianism is very much religious, terminology. You know, world, society, community has been, consist of half of able people and half of Cain type of people. Able type of people, they don't care messianism or religious approach or whatever because they are already open to the religion. But roughly half of the community, half of people are sensitive and they don't like even to listen religious terminology in the social aspect, in the social activities. So point is that we need to decide and we have to convey to use this terminology, messianism, not to all of our contact, not to all everywhere. Sometimes this, the messianism, terminology uses more powerful sometimes. Now, so in this sense, of course, one side, we need to keep this identity as tribal messianism in order for us to really build up the heavenly tradition and the center of our future ideal communities standard. So once we have this standard, we don't have to keep and then spread this everywhere. We need to embrace certain method to go to the horizontal way. So that's why I think we need to use the terminology. One side, HTM or messianism, such as messianism. On the other side, why don't we use the terminology of community? So that's why True Mother created the terminology, heavenly parents, community, right? So that's why our HTM, our Chambo families, must reach the community, local area. That's actually the purpose and the activity of Tongban Gyalpa, which is True Father really tried to emphasize and then educate and train us long time ago. So that's why our HTM activities, first kind of goal or first object are 430. But as quickly as possible, we need to organize and educate and make a real kind of core group. And then based on this core group, we need to reach out the community. This is going to be the future of our activities at HTM. So that's why now I want to finish it for our blessed family to become Chambo family until 2020. And then, before 2027, for almost 5 years, what are we going to do on behalf of Chambo family name? We have to reach out and we have to challenge with our true love and true family values to our community. So that's why we need to create and develop to use this terminology of community from now on to to more reach the community, local area, and then build up the many kind of social project in the future. And we are working together with our tribe. And then I'm sure only you will become not only tribal Messiah toward your tribe, but also you are really able type of a righteous leader in your community. So number two, as a leader, we relate to other more external plus families who have jobs, social activities, and other external priorities. And the internal activities do not always become a priority for those families. Yes, of course. In those situations, how do I encourage families from my mission site to complete HTM and register as a Chambo families? Oh, well, why? Why we have to be the HTM? And why we have to go to the way of a Chambo family? Why? Why? I think this is a matter of our life of faith. So that's why those members who are more externally focusing on, as leaders, you really need to challenge them and then guide them to remind what is their purpose of life and what is the meaning of a life of faith in their life. You have to challenge them as a spiritual leader. Without moving their spirit, how they can change their priority in their life. They are not so much focusing on spiritual aspect. Even though they are blessed family, even though they are in the life of faith, their priority, their major concern is external life. Point is how you can challenge them to change their priority in their life, spirituality or physical priority. It depends on them. But until last moment, you can really, endlessly knock them and then emphasize and really try to change their priority as a spiritual priority in their life of faith. Yeah, once again, I think that's a matter of life of faith. 3, we are handling a situation where a member who received the sacred wine in the 1990s as a single person, but has rejected several matches, therefore did not conduct the 40-day separation nor the 3-day ceremony. In that specific situation, would that member be able to manage a tribe of 430 families as a HTM? Is it possible for a single person to start their HTM activities and become a tribal leader? What's supposed to be your answer? Now, your answer should have become same with my answer because already I gave an answer, right? Who can have authority to save people, even spiritually? That's the Messiah. So that's why the blessing as the heavenly tribal Messiah, the holy ceremony as the blessed family is really a job of the Messiah. So single cannot do that. So these single people, before we emphasize the HTMs or HTMs of providence, still we can guide them to revive their spirituality and then, guide them to develop their life of faith and not with the HTM, but with how about the witnessing? Why don't we guide them to have, witnessing activities and they make a good result? And then they may have, more chances to match it and get the blessing, even though they got old. And then once they got a blessing and they become blessed family, those people who had been witnessed by this person can be automatically his or her tribe. But actually, as a single, he or she is not qualified to do HTM activities. Guide them to start and keep witnessing activity. Well, today I feel I have to answer just one more question, and then keep the rest of questions. I mean, I think that it's almost a half. Yeah, it's almost a half, and then we will finish it next week. We can discuss more. The number 4, in HTM activities, we connected with people or families who profess another religion and do not want to change their vision of faith, but who agree with the vision of our universal values. And sometimes even homosexuals and the people with whom we do not commonly deal. Many of these people wish to integrate our home group while maintaining their own faith and the religious expression. In those situations, what should be the position that the HTM family should take? Well, this is a real challenge for us. Why? We have to change our paradigm, our concept, even through even for the home group activities. What was the purpose of the home group activities? What was that? That's witnessing. That's why we need to change our concept, not witnessing. That's why I put the different kind of structure or different mechanism. 1번. 사모아, 1번. We are not just witness people only. Of course, we may explain that's the part of our witnessing activities. But I want to emphasize, and I want to guide you to have a completely different paradigm. We are not just have witnessing. We are saving people. Salvation. Okay? Change the paradigm. We're going to save the people because we are Messiah. We are tribal Messiah. That's why we're going to save people and make those saved people as my tribe because I am the Messiah. I'm not going to keep witnessing only. This is really important to equip proper paradigm. Okay? So that's why first step is to creating my tribe with spiritual salvation. Second step is to making $430 physically completed salvation, saved people, right? Spiritual salvation, physical salvation. And then, is that the finish? Is it done? Actually, when we finish these 2 steps of salvation, when we accomplish this point, we are able to become jumbo families. But your mother, opened more and gave us, bigger and earlier blessing for us to become jumbo family by passing only first step. So that's why first step, second step, the key word or our paradigm must be focusing on the concept of salvation. And then, once we have saved tribe, and what's supposed to be the next. We have to create saved community. So let's compare with the concept of witnessing. Okay, furthermore, let's think about how can we run home group activities so that this success of home group activities gonna go to the accomplishment of first step, second step, and third step. So that's why our home group activities is not just for the witnessing. We have to challenge it to the community through the home group activity. That's why home group activities not only including religious component, but also this home group activity must include social activities. This is our challenge in the future. But as long as we clearly understood and then really are able to build up these two components in our HTM activities on behalf of Hundok Home Church, we will build up the ideal community, which means Heavenly Parents community. This restored community will connect with a nation when we restore this nation. This is actually providential vision, and what True Mother is really achieved finally throughout her own responsibility, personal responsibility as a true parents, and together with our blessed families' responsibilities as Heavenly Tribal Messiah. So, point is, we have to build up our project, which can hold any kind of motivation, right? Any kind of motivation. So not only religious one, but also social, and also furthermore, we have to build up a strong kind of project which can solve your community's problems. That's actually the Messiah's portion of responsibility, I believe. Okay, thank you, everybody. I'm so happy to deal with and discuss with a very important practical point for us to expand our Heavenly Tribal Messiah activities. I know, I'm sure we need to clarify more, and I'm trying, and then maybe after finishing these, answers for the questions, we may need to discuss and then clarify what's supposed to be our next step based on current situation. That's gonna be my first job as the next sessions. I know still you have questions and still you want to talk with me personally. Well, if I have a chance to do that, anywhere, anytime, I don't mind. But my point and my goal is very clear. Let us develop our work and our foundation in our communities and nationwide, in Brazil and each nation and Heavenly South America. Thank you very much. Once again, Happy New Year. God bless your family, HTM, and the Chambo families. See you on next week.
Ok, mais uma vez, então, vamos dar uma grande salva de palmas ao reverendo David Don Kim por suas preciosas palavras. Nós estamos encaminhando para o encerramento dessa terceira aula da Escola do Messias Tribal Celestial da América do Sul. Muito obrigado pela presença de todos. Esperamos que tenha sido de grande proveito e vamos nos encontrar, então, na próxima sexta-feira para a nossa quarta aula do Messias Tribal Celestial. Boa noite, feliz início de ano a todos.
E dá tchau pra vovó. Vem cá.
Tchau, Tchongu. Tchau, Marilise. Tchau. Isabel.
Abraço.
Chao, para el grande Dios. Bendiciones para todos.
Bendiciones
para
Chao, chao para todo el
Bendiciones
mundo.
a todos, gracias, gracias. Gracias, reverendo, muchas gracias por sus palabras.
Ignacio.
Un mensaje inmenso para
a
toda la
todos los
comunidad.
hermanos y hermanas.
Pastor Saduski. Um abraço desde aqui do Rio Grande do Sul. Cássio. Maria.
Chao.
Buen año.
Gracias, César. Colombia.
Colombia.
Elvio.
Feliz
Horas mexicanas.
Colombia.
Kamsahamnida, Marilise. Oh, Dona Alberto Martica.
Marco, Martica.
Saludos desde Brasil, Colombia,
Colombia.
Perú, Caramanga.
Tío José.
Feliz Navidad, feliz Año Nuevo. Mira mis hijos, qué lindos, mira. Don Alberto. Mondai, dice hola para el tío. Mondai. Lulu. Bebel, bendições.
Abre o portão, vai que eu vou te buscar, Isabela.
Aqui, ó.
Dona Shirley.
Kenildo, tia Dilma.
Feliz ano novo para todos.
Dilma,
feliz ano novo aí, Lina, Elisa. Feliz ano novo.
Diz obrigada pelas balinhas. O tio Nildo diz obrigada pelas balinhas. Ai, que linda!
Feliz ano novo, família, muita paz, saúde, proteção divina.
Extraio, Martica!
Vida longa para todos.
Extraio muito!
Um abraço.
Samida!
Para vocês.
Saludos a senhor José Ribeiro, a Xuxa, a todos desde Colômbia.
A paz.
Bom dia. Milton.